We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say, you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Men's Tennis Through the Decades. Tonight we have the most recent decade of Bucknell alums, the decade of the 2010s. My name is Todd Newcomb. I want to thank Geisinger as our sponsor for this event. Geisinger has done a great job throughout the pandemic, and as always, they do a fantastic job day in and day out with our students and our scholar athletes at Bucknell. Joining head coach Bruce Myers will be one of our current student athletes from our squad, Guillermo Torres. He's a sophomore from Dorado, Puerto Rico, and we're happy to have him on tonight, our alumni. And I'm going to get right into introducing the alums, and we've got a really talented group. First, from the class of 2013, Josh Catton. He was the team captain during the 2012-2013 season. He ranked second all-time with 155 combined singles and doubles wins. He ranks third, tied for third all-time with 72 singles wins, and he ranks second all-time with 83 doubles wins. He was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2010. Our next guest, also from the class of 2013, Kelly Morque. He was the team captain during that season as well, along with Josh. He ranks 8th all-time with 121 combined singles and doubles wins. He ranks 16th all-time with 51 singles wins, and he ranks tied for 6th all-time with 70 doubles wins. Kelly was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2013. Our next guest from the class of 2014, Aidan Lynch. He was the team captain during the 2013-2014 season. He ranks 22nd all-time with 44 doubles wins and 16th in that category with a 61% win rate. He was an ITA Scholar Athlete selection in 2014. Our next guest from the class of 2016 is Nick Bybel. Nick was the team captain during both the 2014-2015 and 2015-2016 seasons. He ranks first all-time with 192 combined singles and doubles wins and 8th in that category with a 74% win rate. He ranks first all-time with 112 singles wins and 7th in that category with a 79% win rate. And he ranks tied for third all-time with 80 doubles wins and 8th in that category with a 68% win rate. He was an All-Patriot League first-team selection all 4 years during his career. And along with teammate Brian Adams, he was named the 2015 Patriot League Doubles Team of the Year. He was the Patriot League Rookie of the Year in 2013, and then a two-time Player of the Year, capturing the honor in both 2014 and 2015. Nick was named to the Patriot League's 25th anniversary team. He was a member of the Academic All-Patriot League team in 2014, an ITA Scholar Athlete selection in 2016, and Nick won the Chris Matheson Award at the Athletic Department's Senior Awards Dinner. And our final guest from the class of 2018 is Daniel Wright. He was the team captain during the 2017-2018 season. He ranks tied for 5th all-time with 145 combined singles and doubles wins. He ranks tied for 3rd all-time with 72 singles wins, and he ranks 5th all-time with 73 doubles wins. An All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2016 and a first-team honoree in both 2017 and 2018. Daniel was a 3-time member of the Academic All-Patriot League team and a 4-time ITA Scholar Athlete selection. So, Coach, we've got a great group. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Todd. Great to see you guys. Before we get really into it, I wanted to kind of go around and give you a chance to tell us what you're currently doing, where you're living, married, kids, which I don't think any of you are, but just a little background. So we'll go back and we'll start with Josh, a little update on what you're doing.
Yeah. So, thanks for those intros, Todd. So yeah, a little bit about me. After graduating in 2013, worked for 6 years in advertising, but more recently switched over to the insurance field. And I've been a broker at a company called Aidan for the last year and a half. Currently live in New York City, but at this moment during the pandemic, I'm out in Connecticut with my fiance's family. I'm engaged to Claudia Silvers, who actually is a fellow Bucknell tennis alum. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Great. Thanks, Josh. How about Kelly? What have you been up to?
Sure, yeah. So I'm in New York City as well. I'm at a financial research firm called CB Insights. I've been there for 5.5 years, pretty much my first job since graduating Bucknell. I work with our venture capital clients in an account management role. Very currently, I'm in Delray Beach, Florida, with a couple of other Bucknell teammates, Chris Tortora and Kyle Rosen. We came down here because Kyle's dad has a place in Delray, and we're just taking a week to play a bunch of tennis, and we're actually playing a tournament this weekend. So lots of tennis, getting in a lot of tennis this week.
What kind of tournament? Is it like a UTR event or?
It's a USTA tournament, men's open, actually. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Aidan, what you been? I missed you on campus like this summer. Usually you pop in. So
I know. I miss being there. I similar to these guys normally live in New York City and get to campus a couple times a year. In the city, my day job is working at a bank, Silicon Valley Bank, where I help finance startups. But yeah, with the pandemic and all, I've come home to Southern California to be closer to family and getting to play a lot of tennis as well, which has not been a bad thing.
Awesome. Next, Nick Bybel. What you been up to, Nick?
Hey Bruce, just kind of, it's been weird just being home this long period of time. I've been down in Hilton Head for most of it, and yeah, it's just different not being able to travel as much and play tournaments like across the world. So just been enjoying the island as much as I can. It's a rough place to be quarantined at.
No mention of the girlfriend that I've seen pictures of?
I mean, you keep saying that she's gonna bring down my tennis. Is that true?
I don't know. Ask Josh. Did it affect your tennis, Josh?
Not on my end, but I don't know. Nick has a different level of focus than me, so
That's true. And then finally, the only student athlete that I coached in all of these is Daniel Wright. Dan, what you been up to?
Hey, good. So I was in Connecticut working for the sponsorship valuation group for a sports and entertainment marketing agency. Since I graduated in 2018, I was in Connecticut. I am back in Northern New Jersey at my parents' place since the pandemic. I've been working remotely, still been playing a good amount of tennis during the summer, kind of have transitioned over to paddle during the winter and everything. So kind of getting into that. But yeah, I've been making the most of it. So it's been pretty good.
Great. Yeah, all you guys except for Nick were at the paddle event we had last year, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So okay, good. So first question would be going back to the beginning, how did you end up at Bucknell? Were you recruited, walk on? So give us the story of how you ended up choosing Bucknell. So we'll go back to Josh.
So I'd say going to senior year of high school, I had a few schools on my radar. Wasn't really sure, where I could play. And I actually met Coach Helt at the Ed Krause camp in Pennsylvania at Lehigh.
Lehigh?
Yeah. So met her there and kept in touch, and then did a campus visit, I think in September of that year, and kind of just loved everything about the school and got a really good feel for the team, and just kind of pretty much checked every box. And it was clear for me that Bucknell was where I wanted to be. So I told Hel, that, and she offered me a spot in the team. And yeah, I came in with a recruiting class with Kelly, Evan, and a few other people. But yeah, it was obviously the right choice, and never looked back.
That was a good class. Kelly, how did you end up at Bucknell?
Yeah, so it had been on my radar for a bit. Just my high school in Westchester always sent a handful of people to Bucknell each year. But for me, it really came down to Bucknell and two other schools, Colgate and Villanova. And so I did recruiting visits at each of them. And after I did my campus visit to Bucknell, I knew that that was the school for me. Great academic reputation. I think tennis-wise, it lined up with what I was trying to achieve in college. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very picturesque campus, obviously. So after that, I just knew I wanted to be there and applied early decision, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Aidan, coming from Cali, how did you end up at Bucknell?
Yeah, so probably a little bit different than these four. I grew up in Los Angeles and was a little bit more, I guess, maybe proactive about having to reach out to schools on the East Coast, knowing that I wanted to get a different experience and move from the West Coast and experience something different, go to college, ideally in the Northeast. And so started reaching out to coaches knowing that I wanted to play tennis in college, and was targeting a lot of the things that have been mentioned: a great academic campus, a strong team atmosphere. I was interested in being in a fraternity, which I ended up being in, but it wasn't make or break. And similar to Josh and Kelly, I think when I visited campus and not only got a feel for what it was like to be in Lewisburg, but also I sat through a couple of classes and got to watch the team practice for a day or two, and was just blown away. And so I also made the decision to apply, early decision, and grateful that I did.
Awesome. Nick, Bybel, how does a Lancaster kid like you end up at Bucknell?
So I ended up going away for high school, went down to Hilton Head, which was like 12 hours away. And I kind of wanted to be closer to home. Just like I had my time away from everything, and fortunate enough to be only in Bucknell was an hour and 45 minutes from my home. And I came up for the official visit, and the team really like sold me on it. It was just a great like team camaraderie and everything. And I felt like I don't know, I just had a bunch of fun with the team then, and was really never second guessed my decision about going there.
Nope, makes perfect sense. We're glad you did. How about you, Daniel, right? How did you end up at Bucknell?
Yeah, kind of going in my senior year, I was very much just set on finding that great balance between academics and tennis. And I was actually looking at a lot of D3 NESCAC schools specifically. I wasn't actually looking at a lot of Division I programs, and Bucknell was one of them. And I was recruited by Coach Helt as well. And it was really when I came to campus and I had the visit, and I actually got to meet, even though I wasn't with like Aidan and Kelly, it was kind of good getting to see that atmosphere, and I really liked the culture there. And so I came in with three great guys, and yeah, it was kind of from there it was great. So yeah, loved it. Yeah.
Awesome. So quickly, got to pick one. What was your most memorable experience as a member, a student athlete, member of the Bucknell men's tennis program? Josh, start with you.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Trying to think. First one that comes to mind, there was a marathon match that I had played down during spring break in Florida. We were playing BU, and match came down to me. It was 3-3 on the deciding match, and I think I was down a set in like 5-2. Somehow managed to claw my way back and pull out the victory with all BU and all Bucknell watching. And Kelly probably remembers, but they team hoisted me up on their shoulders and carried me off the court, which is pretty memorable.
Outstanding. Kelly, what was your one moment that sticks in your mind from being a student athlete at Bucknell?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. It's a tough one. I can't answer that without giving a shout out to the spring breaks. Those were always a blast. But if I had to pick one, it was probably going to Athens, Georgia to watch two of our teammates, Greg Kohenka and Evan Zimmer, compete in the NCAA championships. And that was just something that was unheard of for a Bucknell team to achieve that, to go play in that tournament. So, went down there and watched them play, and also all these other fantastic players from across the country compete in the year-end championships.
That's a great memory. Aidan, how about you?
Yeah, I think that my favorite memories would probably be like the mundane day-to-day stuff, whether it was just BSing in the locker room or hanging out at the lunch tables. I think that was some of my favorite memories. But if I had to pick one kind of more specifically to tennis, outside of just being around the guys, it would have to be it was my sophomore year Patriot League tournament. We played Navy, and it was probably one of my favorite matches because it was probably one of the best matches that I played. We had an awesome doubles match, ended up taking the doubles point in a really kind of high intensity, high energy atmosphere. And just the excitement and being around the guys. That was the first Patriot League match or Patriot League tournament I'd ever played in. And that was kind of what college tennis was all about for me. And I was so stoked to finally be experiencing it. That's definitely one of my most memorable on-court moments.
That's awesome. Nick, what's just one thing that sticks out in your mind?
The tie for first. I mean, there was the one time, I think it was my junior year on spring break when Dan, Wright, Brian, I think there was one other guy we were on Fear Factor Live, and we took a nasty shot of like mealworms, fish guts, sour milk, and like cow brains. It was disgusting, but like it was just fun kind of getting up there in front of everyone to do that. But tied with that was when we beat Colgate 4-3 my junior year, when we lost them 4-3 in the regular season, and they got seated ahead of us, and then they came back and we played the Patriot League tournament at Bucknell's courts, and we beat them. I think it was 4-0 or 4-1.
Very nice. Very nice. Dan Wright, what's the one thing you remember?
Yeah, kind of similar to Nick's. It was actually the year after, actually. It was the quarterfinals of the Patriot League tournament my sophomore year. So Nick, your senior year. And we were playing BU. We won the doubles point after it was actually Max Kane and Timber. They were down match points, and they ended up winning at number 2 doubles. And then we won 4-3 in the end with Andre, I think it was at number 5, playing basically like the same person except half as tall as them. They played the exact same way. And that was kind of when he kind of came into his element. And I remember that was such a good win. We were very, very much not predicted to win. So that was probably my best experience. So.
That's awesome. Todd, do you want to go to Guillermo for a question?
Yeah, I'll just go and ask. Like, what would you give like advice to like a current player on the team or like any other player on your like Bucknell like tennis experience? Like what would you like advise to someone now? You started like Josh, I think, like same pattern.
What advice would I have? I'd say to enjoy every minute of it. You'll realize quickly after graduating, how unique your experience was, and really just don't take a second for granted, because you blink and it's over, and it's easy while you're in the moment to kind of feel like it's going to last forever, but it doesn't. And just take advantage of everything at your disposal at Bucknell. So many good resources and so many smart people, and just build out that network of great people to keep in touch with in the future.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. How about you, Kelly?
Yeah, I'd echo that exact same sentiment. Just be super grateful for the position and opportunity that you're in right now. I mean, when you graduate, you certainly don't have a block of time set aside each day to hang out with your best friends and play the sport you love, and just be in that kind of routine and schedule, which is probably something that I miss the most from my days at Bucknell.
Yeah. Aidan?
Yeah, I think Josh and Kelly hit the nail on the head, but I think that I feel so fortunate to have built so many great friendships at Bucknell, and in large part with these guys on the tennis team. I mean, the guys on camera are some of my closest friends, and I'm very thankful for that. And I think one thing that I would have done a little bit differently in hindsight is to have tried to have built some of those relationships with the professors. I never found a professor that I quite resonated with that way, and that I still have a relationship with today, the way I do the tennis department. And so I'm very thankful to have that with tennis, but I would call on the tennis team today to try to build those connections, even if they feel a little bit forced, that ultimately down the line, it's something you'll be appreciative that you have.
Yeah. Awesome. About Bybel?
Hey, what's up, man? Just enjoy every minute of it. I mean, as everyone says, 4 years goes by so fast, and it's stuff that, like, in the moment of it, you might not be enjoying it, like a 6 a.m. workout. I don't know if you've been late to practice yet, if that's still a thing or not, doing tire flips, but as much as that sucks, I mean, you look back and I would trade anything to be in the weight room again at 6 a.m. with those guys next to me. I mean, it's just memories that you'll cherish forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to offer of what has honestly been said. I will say maybe in the age of COVID, I don't know how much I can offer in terms of just my experience just seems, and then I think all of our guys' experiences were just couldn't be more opposite in terms of, I don't know how much you guys are even allowed to do right now. And, a lot of things are in jeopardy, but yeah, there were many times where, you kind of going through the daily routines and you were just like, do I really want to be doing this right now? Or like, am I really up for this? But before you know it, you've gone through a season and even though some of those times feel like they're going slow, in retrospect, they're going quite fast. So I would just kind of like, when it is appropriate, take the time to slow down, kind of appreciate the moment and don't let it go past you. So.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. So I'm going to go back, and this is going to be a tough one, put you right on the spot. So which teammate did you admire the most and why? Start with Josh.
Oof. Teammate I admired the most.
And why?
I'd say maybe a guy named Mark Malloy. He was a junior when I was a freshman, and quickly found out after starting my freshman year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And he kind of faced the situation with, a lot of courage, and I always really respected that. And he was the most upbeat guy and dealing with such a, difficult circumstance. And, was even a good teammate. When he couldn't play, he was there and cheering us on. And, he was one of the best players on the team, and obviously killed it to not be able to play with us. But you wouldn't know it by talking to him. And I'd just say that was one thing I appreciated and respected, looked up to all my teammates, but that was kind of a moment where, as a new college student, I really came to appreciate the courageousness someone could, have at such a young age.
That's a great one. Kelly.
Yeah, I'd probably say Josh Catton. I mean, he would probably echo this as well, but he wasn't a very good player in the juniors. We came from the same section, and he, didn't really rack up that many wins. There's not that much, no other way to put it. And then he came into college and just became this absolute dominant player. And then, of course, his senior year, he had meniscus surgery on both of his knees and persevered through that. So, the way that he elevated his game during college when, maybe wasn't expected of him coming in, and had a great college career and, battled his way through injury. I'd give it to Josh there.
Thanks, Kel.
There you go. Aidan, which teammate do you admire most and why?
Yeah, I mean, Josh, Kelly, and Evan absolutely have a special place in my heart as captains when I was a junior, but I think I'd probably call Kyle Rosen, who was my co-captain. I met Kyle before our freshman year together, and he was also visiting campus at the same time I was, and I thought, man, I'm going to hate this guy. He is going to drive me totally crazy. He is such a weird guy. He's so foreign to me from being like as East Coast as he was. And over the years, he proved so many things to me, not only on the tennis court, but off it. And I've met very few people in my life who own who they are as much as Kyle does. And we were, I think, all lucky to have him as a teammate. And he really was at times the heart and soul of our team, and to a shameless degree. And I definitely feel lucky to have had him as a teammate and a co-captain, and I'm lucky to call him a close friend today.
Oh, that's great. Pressure's on you, Nick. What do you got?
Yeah, it's so tough because everyone on this call, I admire everyone, and every one of my teammates over the years, I admire them. But I mean, for me, my freshman year, with the three captains with Josh, Kelly, and Zimmer, I really got close with Josh during that time, and gave me a lot of tough TLC, especially in doubles when I wouldn't be closing the net. I think he may or may not have thrown a shoe at me one time to close the net, but
I don't remember that.
Well, so I remember the quote. It's like some dream of closing, others just actually wake up and do it. I forget if that was from the Villanova match where it was just ice cold and like snowing everywhere. But now with Catton like coming in, he had his 2 knee surgeries there and fighting to stay in. And I just remember watching him give everything out there. I remember his knees were pretty shot by the conference tournament, but like he still gritted through it and continued to battle and kind of helped, I guess, shape me and get me ready for like the next few years and what really how much stress that college tennis can put on your body. Just make sure that you maintain everything and don't take everything for granted.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course, man.
Now, Dan Wright. This will be curious. I'm curious to hear the answer here.
Yeah. Since you only gave me just to have one option, I have to give a special shout out to my fellow 3 kind of senior teammates, because we couldn't have been more different as people, but we kind of became as one. We kind of took the best out of each other and the worst, and we kind of just mixed it all together. But probably coming in as a freshman, coming in with Bybel. Bybel was probably the best in terms of showing me kind of what it took in order to kind of like go to that next level. I felt like I had a good starting place, but in terms of what it really took in order to go to that next level, all the hard work you had to put in outside versus not just like kind of during the normal mandatory hours. He was always the person doing extra work, first one in, last one out. And I kind of tried to emulate some of those qualities to try to, in order to kind of advance my own and try to advance for the team. So yeah, I'd probably go with Bybel.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. We'll shift it back to Guillermo for his final question.
Yeah, no. So my question is like, what do you guys like advise on like making connections and like being able to find like the right job like coming out of Bucknell? We can start at Josh again.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I think one of the tough things about being at Bucknell, where you're in such a experience where you're busy all the time with tennis and school and just having fun, it's tough to kind of take a step back and think about the future. I mean, at least I struggled with that. So I'd say my advice is to kind of understand all the options that are out there in terms of careers, talk to as many alumni as you can, just kind of try to figure out your interests and, what you could see yourself doing long term, and, lean on that network so that, you're not starting from scratch. There's plenty of people out there like us who have gone through it and, could offer some insight into the different careers that we've tried at. So yeah, I'd say if you can take a step back, and then, once you have a vision of what you want to do, reach out to that network that Bucknell offers you.
Awesome. Kelly?
Yeah, I think Bucknell offers a lot in that department. I remember going to the Career Center and having them look at my resume and doing like practice interviews. And yeah, I remember when I was still in school and even past when I graduated, I was reaching out to a ton of Bucknell alum through the directory and just asking for, informational interviews. And I think one thing you guys should realize is that no one is going to turn down like a quick phone chat so you can figure out what you want to do. Because I certainly had no idea what I wanted to do, even post-graduation. And people are going to be excited to talk to you about their jobs. And I think even more so people that are just a few years out of school and kind of know it's in their recent memory, like being in your shoes.
Yeah, no. Aidan?
Yeah, kind of double clicking on what both these guys have said. I think like figuring out what a job actually means and like what the day-to-day looks like and what the career path is like and what the options are after that first job, because odds are your first job isn't going to be the job you have forever. And so understanding kind of what you can lily pad off of, I think was really helpful. I think I know that I definitely reached out to a lot of alumni similar to Kelly and Josh to understand more about their company and to, networking to try to get a job. And I think I wish I had spent a little bit more time like really digging into what the differences are between like something as simple as the buy side and sell side of investment banking, and digging into the minutia a little bit more, so that when you are going to apply for what that job is that you really want, it's a much easier sales pitch.
No. Nick?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know sure if I'm the right person to ask for this. I haven't sat behind a desk yet. So, I mean, just find what you're passionate for and go for it. I mean, and that the Bucknell tennis community itself is such a tight knit group that I'm sure there's whatever you're looking to do, there's somebody that graduated within the tennis department that is doing that. And I feel like no matter who I've talked to from the alumni, they're always willing to help out no matter what. So, I mean, always keep your options open and don't be afraid, like, just to reach out, because I mean, it's a great conversation to start, and then you never know what they can connect you to.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, so I think I can talk this actually firsthand. So yeah, like towards going into the spring of my senior year, I was kind of like Kelly. I was kind of like unsure what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to work in sports. I knew I wanted to work in a research / analytics kind of capacity. And I found out just talking to Timber, I was like, his dad kind of works in that field, and I kind of reached out to him for kind of guidance and advice and in terms of how he could potentially help me. And he kind of set up a phone call for me, introduced me to somebody, and that's who I end up kind of working for today. He kind of helped make that connection, and he was my teammate's dad, and it's like as close as you could possibly get. And that was so valuable for me, because he made that connection, and then he kind of opened the door for me to kind of just take it where I needed. And that was huge for me. And it's I've kind of tried to take the same attitude since, like especially during the pandemic, try to network as much as possible in terms of speaking to people who are relevant, because yeah, as Aidan said, people are going to be excited to talk about their jobs, and they're more than likely going to be willing to speak to you. So it's kind of figuring out like where those interests lie, where could you possibly see yourself, and then kind of just looking to be determined to go after it. So
yeah, awesome, thanks.
Well, that's great. So my final question, to put you guys on the spot once again. So I'm halfway through my 5th season at Bucknell. I think we're a week away from wrapping up. And you guys, thinking back to your time and what you know of the current program, what advice would you give me as the head coach of the program? So, Josh, we'll start with you.
Yeah, throwing the tough questions at us. Advice for you as a coach, I think, just building this network out. I think stuff like this is really good. I know everyone that I'm close with from the team, is always willing to participate and get involved with, alumni events. And I think those things are a good way to bring everyone together. So, you're doing a good job of building that network and, harnessing everyone's interest in staying in touch with the program. So keep doing that. And then, I know the guys on the team are having great experience, but I think the alumni network is definitely a good way, to keep everyone involved with the program.
And I'll preface this by, and Todd can verify this, we had a bunch of meetings to talk about, this is our 100th anniversary of being a varsity sport on campus. So, and actually talked to Aidan about this too. And obviously we can't do a proper celebration, but hopefully, look to 2021, if we can get back to normal, and we'll kick it back in high gear and get everybody back. So, but let's go to Kelly with the same question. What advice would you give me as a head coach?
Is it possible to recruit more? Is it possible to recruit more Nick Bybels? Is that a possibility? I mean, the team would be full of studs. We'd win the Patriot League.
He's my volunteer.
I think the rest.
Is that official?
And then the rest would speak for itself.
You are officially my volunteer assistant coach. You're doing a lousy job in South Carolina, but yeah.
All right, so Bybel, this is on you. Can you recruit some more players like yourself?
I'm trying. I mean, this pandemic hasn't been that great to get people over here.
No, but I think you're doing a great job too, Bruce. And I think the paddle events have gone really well, and I'm looking forward to doing more similar events.
Great, it's great having you. Aidan, what you got?
Yeah, we unfortunately unfortunately never, I guess you didn't coach Kelly, Josh, and I, but I've appreciated the alumni connectedness as well. I think the one thing I wish we'd done more of on when we were on campus was talking through strategy, and both the strategy of kind of on court, the X's and O's, but also the mental part of the game. I think that was something for me when I started playing college tennis that was a little bit overwhelming at times. Was like, whoa, this is a different experience than junior tennis, whether it was the intensity or the mind games that people would play. I think that I would have appreciated a little more coaching up on that, and kind of not only like hitting tons of balls, but and making my stroke stronger, but kind of where should I be placing shots and how should I be thinking about playing my game the best I can.
I'll turn it over to my volunteer assistant coach, Nick Bybel.
I definitely appreciate like what you're doing differently of kind of getting the guys massages like once a week, making sure that they're taking care of their bodies a lot more, and you mandating the individual sessions during the day, just so, because in a group environment, you can't really get everything out of practice that we need to. So that crucial 30 minutes to even an hour of just having one-on-one time is big. I mean, I think the alumni events are going great, even though I haven't been able to attend one yet. I really hope to coming up, if there is a paddle event or something like that, or 2021. But maybe bring a few more alumni out on spring break.
Oh, there you go. We brought you, isn't that enough?
I mean, you can always bring like Aidan. Well, Aidan, aren't you close? Aren't you out there in Cali?
That's true. Thanks, Nick. And then
I'm here.
You are. That's 2021. We'll come out back to SoCal. See Aidan. So let's go to Dan Wright, who actually had me as a coach for 2 years, to get his feedback.
Yeah. So coach, am I, apart from obviously Guillermo, I'm the only one.
You are. You're it.
Yeah. So, I think I liked what Aidan was talking about. I probably touched that upon, because to a point, everyone has the basics going into, like, the standard is really close. Everyone is pretty similar. It is really, a lot of it is just kind of in between the ears. So much of it is, and such small margins. And so if you can kind of help help with the mental side even more, I just feel like that can kind of like be the difference between winning and losing, honestly. And then kind of more from like a holistic point of view, I just and I think you've done a better job since I've graduated, which is good to see, but just the balance between all of it. I think there were points maybe during my experience where I think it was a little imbalanced, but we almost needed to have that in order to learn from it. Because as soon as one area of your life, whether it's, you're something going on in your personal life, academics, tennis, if one of those areas is kind of gone awry, then that can impact those other areas of your life. So kind of just maintaining that overall balance, especially in an age of a pandemic. So those are the things I think we focus on.
Yep, appreciate that, Daniel. Todd, you're on mute.
I can't believe I was on mute. Before Coach signs off with you guys, we have time for one more question. And a lot of these sessions, coaches have had the current team members watch, and I thought this would be a good question to ask you all, so they can really soak in the answer here. So what are some of the skills that you took from your time as a student athlete that you've used in your current job or your current life, or that have helped set you up for the future? And we'll flip the order and we'll start with Dan this time.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think just in terms of, and this is something I had to learn a lot, and I didn't necessarily have this as a skill probably to begin with, but learn through my experiences at Bucknell, is kind of the resiliency factor. And that is such an important quality in all aspects of life. And especially that's something that's you're seeing that if you don't have a lot during a pandemic, everything can seem so much worse. And just kind of being pushed to your limits while I was at Bucknell, and then kind of helping increase the ceiling so you can kind of push yourself a little further. I felt that, like, when in a job scenario, I've never felt, totally overwhelmed or completely flustered, because some of the most difficult experiences that I've ever had were sometimes during those conditioning sessions where I just wanted to just kind of give up. But I didn't, and you kind of came through it. So I would say that.
Okay, so Nick, for you, it's a little different, but what are some skills that you've taken to the next level, trying to play professional tennis, and how they helped you?
So like understanding having the balance of like social, academic, and tennis, and it's a little bit different with, I have to do a lot more of the organizing myself with like traveling and scheduling, and understanding that my body doesn't like to function at 6 a.m. So trying not to schedule practices that early in the day, but just making sure that I have a well-balanced like day-to-day like life, just because if like one thing, if tennis is becoming too much of incorporating my life too much, that I need to take a step back and kind of understand that tennis isn't everything out there, and I need to kind of make sure that there are other important things in my life.
Aidan?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I took away was structure, and how structure helped me tremendously, both on the court and off the court. And it helps me today in work. I know that my GPA was always higher when we were in season during the spring, because I had to plan everything and be more meticulous about my schedule and when I was going to study. And that has been huge. I think that's helped my productivity when I'm in the office, and it also helps when I'm trying to maximize time and getting to hit on the West Side Highway with Kelly and Josh. And if I wasn't as good at structuring my days, I definitely wouldn't be able to do both.
Kelly?
Yeah, echoing Dan's point, I'd say number one is confidence, right? We played 4 years of Division I tennis. We did countless training sessions, played all these grueling matches. So if we can get through that, we can get through anything that the real world throws at us. And then number two, I'd say communicating with a manager. I kind of viewed our coaches like the managers, and you're always like emailing them about, the schedule and certain aspects of, being a tennis player at Bucknell. And, being able to communicate with, my manager now is, kind of get a head start on that in college.
And Josh?
For me, I'd say balance, like learning at Bucknell how to kind of enjoy the tennis experience, academics, and the social life was kind of a struggle for a few years. But once you kind of find that balance, you realize you could enjoy all three and have a great experience, in total. But, in the real world, it's easy to get kind of too focused on one area of your life, but it's definitely something I learned at Bucknell. It's important to take a step back and understand that you need to enjoy yourself while you're doing it. And, your life is important, and, you can't just focus on work too much without, seeing your friends, and, that your hobbies like tennis are important to maintain, or else you just kind of you look back and you feel like you've, neglected important parts of your life.
I appreciate those answers, guys. Coach, I'll kick it back to you for any closing comments you might have.
No, it's a fun group. I've appreciated, especially when we started even with the alumni events, that Aidan kind of stepped in and got you guys and drug you guys out there, and hopefully we'll grow that and continue to grow that. I think you guys, not only are you newer in the process of the professional life, I think you have a lot to offer to my current student athletes. So there's such a benefit there. And let's be honest, the paddle's been a lot of fun, and the guys really enjoy it. Most of my guys come from all over the country or world and haven't played paddle, so it's really neat for them. And I appreciate you guys, what you've done for that. And then obviously, Nick, I appreciate the help you gave to the team last year. It's been outstanding. So you guys are a fun group, and hopefully we can grow and expand and have a great celebration hopefully next year, and bring your friends. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Coach. And my closing comments, I want to start with Guillermo. And again, thank you for taking the time out. I want to wish you the best of luck with this coming week and a half. You wind up the semester and get home safely. And then come this spring, I hope you're on that court behind me playing competitive Patriot League tennis and really kicking some butt in the conference this year. I think the team's got a lot of potential, and we wish you the best of luck with that. And then to the alums, guys, thanks so much for doing this. Thank you for what you did while you were here as student athletes at Bucknell, how you represented the tennis team, the athletic department and the university, outstanding in all aspects. And then more importantly, thank you for what you've done and will continue to do as alums of the tennis program. Our current student athletes can't have the type of experience that they do without the support from our alumni, and I appreciate all that you do there. And then for those of you that tuned in tonight at home to watch, we thank you for doing so, and go Bison.